a very terrible time at the moment in Morocco. You know, even though aid is starting to come in, there is a lot of anger about how long it took. Do you think that's warranted?
Well, the anger is absolutely warranted. The Moroccan authorities took an acceptable long time to react to the event, to the extent that after most of the world leaders have expressed officially their support to Morocco, not one Moroccan politician had said any word because they were waiting for the king to come from France, where he was staying for a few weeks. And on the ground, there are issues of coordinating efforts, people willing to help, but they are mostly left to themselves. I think it's a little bit too early to pass a definitive judgment on the performance of the state. We need to wait a little bit. But so far, the information that come to us from the ground are not really good ones.
Positive. You talked about how the king was in France. Now, of course, there's this system where, of course, the government agencies sort of wait for a sign from the king to go forward. Was that part of the problem?
It is. It was the problem. You know, one of the major lessons we're going to draw from this tragic set of events, it's how the pretense that Morocco is democracy is sham. Because how come we have a government, an elected parliament, a prime minister, minister of interior, etc., and they're unable to lift a finger without the presence of a non-elected man who's the king? You know, that by itself, tarnishes the reputation of Moroccan institutions.
Yeah. You know, France, from where you're talking to us, of course, has a long colonial history with Morocco, yet Morocco is not accepting aid from France. Why not?
Well, there is a recent set of events that led to tense relations between Morocco and France. The official reason from the Moroccans is the France stance on the Western Sahara, that France has not followed suit after Donald Trump has decided to recognize the Western Sahara as Moroccan territory. And then that led to a much more to a tenser relationship with France. But as a matter of fact, there were other reasons behind this anger toward France that had to do with the fact that the head of the security apparatus in Morocco was actually prosecuted or about to be prosecuted for torture in France, which the Moroccan regime did not accept at all, and many other things. Besides, frankly, France has a lot to account for. I think it's not blameless, and there are many reasons why Moroccans can be happy with France. But then we have an issue of consistency here, because we still have very strong relations with France, and the highest ranking officials in Morocco, they have business with the French state, etc. So I don't have a problem personally that we do have that we are we reject France to help us, etc. But we have to be consistent, because if on one hand it's okay to make money with the French, but on the other hand we are refusing to get their money to help our people who are under the rubbles, that seems to be morally unacceptable.
Yeah. And, you know, at a time when so many countries are offering aid, Morocco still seems to be sort of picking and choosing. You know, is there a history of distrust on behalf of the government?
No, what happened recently is that the Moroccan diplomacy seems to be a little bit on steroid. You know, it seems that Morocco has moved in the crafting of its foreign policy from a more of a soft power type of attitude to more of a hard power one. And the Moroccan regime and the Minister of Foreign Affairs, they're very keen on projecting this image of a harder stance with our allies and asking them to recognize that the Western Sahara is Moroccan or else. But the problem with that, it's done indiscriminately. I don't think it's a very wise stance. I think Morocco can perfectly defend its sovereignty over the Western Sahara before having that type of attitudes that are inconsistent and that not serve the higher purpose of the Moroccan people.
Yeah. Give us a sense as to how you feel this nation can recover from a tragedy like this.
Well, I think that we need, there should be a lot of soul searching after what happened, because one of the glaring evidences that now are strikingly obvious to everyone is that there is what the former French colonizers called the unuseful Morocco, the useful Morocco and the unuseful Morocco. And it seems that after independence, we did not what we should have done to develop the unuseful Morocco. And I'm using this derogatory word that shouldn't be used, actually. And we see that the people who are really suffered from the earthquake are the poorest section of our society, that were basically left aside by the development that happened elsewhere. So we need to ask ourselves some hard question about allocation of resources. I think it's not normal that you have a $200 million opera houses not being inaugurated in Rabat while people don't have where to live, don't have a health system. I don't think it's valid, it's acceptable that you have a bullet train of which economic profitability is not obvious, whereas we still have a lot of needs otherwise. And the reason why we have this misallocation of resources is that the people who are making this decision are not subjected to the popular vote, are not subjected to contradictory debate. So that's how we ended up with this misallocation of resources, wonderful airports, some wonderful highways, but a big portion of the Moroccan people who are basically having serious problems to get ends meet at the end of the month.